What is a clear sign of you getting older? When they tear down a building that you remember getting built. When I watched professional sports and all the players looked like children. Baseball, football, tennis too, etc. I used to use the pull-up bar to make my arms big. I now use the pull-up bar to decompress my spine. Valuing your sleep and at least trying to follow a decent sleep schedule. Making noises when sitting up and down. Intolerance for loud noise. The older I get, the less I can stand it. What unimpressive things are people idiotically proud of? Being assholes. IDKY, but I've met so many PPL that have the opinion of, I'm mean. So what? Quote. I'm assuming it's a reflex brought on by trauma. But that doesn't make it any less of a pain in the ass to deal with. Name droppers who try to impress others by mentioning all the important people they claim to know. I'm in college. Every time I go to a party, someone brags to me about getting or almost getting a DUI. I've also had multiple people brag to me about how they gave someone else their an STD. I stay home now. Being nasty to people. I had a coworker who was proud of the fact that despite having 4 children, he had never changed a diaper. Someone chastised him and said he was just a bad father. Not reading a book since leaving school. Redditors who have been in prison. What's the most heartwarming thing you've seen or heard in prison? Not prison, but in jail for a while. And there was a book I was reading that the library man gave me. And come to find out the last 40 pages were ripped out. This absolute gangster type dude heard me complaining. And he came over that evening and told me how he'd read that book before and knew how it ended. And he basically narrated the last 40 pages to me over the next 2 days. I wasn't in prison. But I went to Germany as an exchange student to a family where both parents worked in prisons. The dad worked in the infirmary and the mom was a guard. One day the mom, her 9-year-old daughter and me were in the city. Shopping. When she saw someone she recognized. It was a woman that you wouldn't look at twice. Wearing regular clothing. Talking on her phone. My exchange mother walked up to her from behind and flicked her ear. The woman screamed and then both started laughing and hugging. Had a small conversation and then they parted. When I asked who that was, the mother said it was an inmate. Not an ex-inmate. A person that was currently imprisoned. Seeing my shock, she reassured me that she would soon take a bus to go back. Apparently people that are close to their release time get the chance to go out to get everything ready. Like get an apartment. Job interviews. That kind of thing. It kind of made me happy. I needed some eye bleach after the post about the most disturbing thing people have seen in prison. I did a couple years at a small fed spot. And my first week there I was approached by an inmate who ran an organization through the prison chapel. Their mission was to make sure new arrivals were stocked up on necessities. Hygiene items. Clean underclothes. Etc. They told me it wasn't expected that I should ever pay them back. But if I'm ever in a position to donate back to their cause I could do so. A couple weeks later I got some money in and bought all the items they gave me. I found the gentleman and told him I wanted to donate. He was actually shocked. And even seemed a little touched. He didn't specifically say so. But I got the impression that people rarely give back. This is just one of several stories I have from my time there about inmates being absolute bros to each other. I spent a week in a detention center waiting on a bail hearing. Every morning with breakfast we got a pack of instant coffee. Thing is, by the time we were let out of our cells I was already awake and didn't need coffee. So after 3 days of saving these coffee packets just to not use them I just walked out and was like, who wants coffee? Quote. Pod boss. inmate who is unofficially in charge of the cell block. Someone you generally don't wanna piss off. And his second in command are like, sure, we'll take him. Turns out these guys aren't all that scary. Second in command guy makes killer origami. I watched him make a fighter jet and a tank. He ended up giving me a paper crane. I didn't get to keep it, unfortunately. It was in my cell when I went to court and was released. My friend says there are 2 cats that visit that everyone fawns over. One is tabby-colored and one is solid black. I forgot their names. But he really enjoys seeing them. Which movies can be ruined by adding and shit to their names? I Stand Alone and shit. Eat, Pray, Love and shit. Don't Breathe and shit. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and shit. Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle and shit. Stand By Me and shit. What video game is worth every penny? RimWorld. So much playability. Have played it dozens and dozens of times, making GNU colonies. Orange Box. Gotta hand it to Minecraft Java. If not for the countless hours you can spend in vanilla, then for the amazing mods the community have made over the years. Skyrim, RDR2, Horizon Zero Dawn, and Witcher 3. BioShock. Terraria. Redditors that grew up, live in the country. What's something every city kid should know? Don't walk behind a horse. Don't touch random metal fences unless you want to get a shock. And everyone you meet either cares too much or couldn't give a shit about you. Oh, also, no matter how kind a middle-aged Midwestern woman seems, remember that she's 100% gossiping about you to the other aunts and asking people to pray for you. Coyotes are not like dogs, stop feeding them. Just because a party is in the middle of the woods or a field doesn't mean the police won't break it up. You're missing amazing games of flashlight tag. Chances are that everyone in the local grocery store already knows all about you, even if you've never spoken directly to them. They also probably already know what you drive and where you live. This is all true for a smallish town. At least. Leave gates how you find them. They are open or closed for a reason.
Subscribe, my brothers.